Good morning, everybody. It's Dave King, DDS again. I wanted to show you a real brief case, and let me start this out by saying I'm sorry for the quality of the photos. Some of these are pictures, obviously, of a computer screen, so I apologize in advance. But this was an interesting case. We were able to do a 6-unit upper anterior eMax bridge with a BL40 block, one of the big eMax 40 millimeter blocks. Now, let me preface this by saying um, the B40 block, the eMax bridges are not designed to be that big unsupported by zirconia. So if you have a failure, if you try to attempt this type of a restoration without discussing it with the patient that the failure isn't necessarily on the material, it's your fault, I would be very cautious. So let me just reiterate that again. eMax Ivoclar does not recommend doing a 40 millimeter bridge without being supported by zirconia. These bridge blocks are designed to be used in the lab in the CAD-on process, where you're actually adding an overlay of eMax over zirconia. Now the narrower bridges, the B32 blocks, those are great. We do those all the time. This is pushing the material past what it was designed for. So this bridge that you see here, this is a 6-unit bridge from 6 to 11, done in a single appointment with an eMax BL40 block. And I had talked with the patient. He realized that this is not the ideal restoration, but he wanted his bridge really fast. And he was willing to pay a little bit less for me to not necessarily experiment, but to push the material past its design limit. To help provide him some service. So fun case, interesting case here, lots of fun. 6-unit bridge. Again, I apologize for the quality of the pictures. Here it is. His occlusion, he was basically occluding against a lower partial denture generally, so not as big of an issue to make a 6-unit bridge. And there's some good staining and glazing here, which again you can't really see because of the poor quality of the photos. I apologize. But this was almost, we were working on the bite obviously, but had grabbed a couple of pictures here. So again, this is all washed out. Sorry, poor quality pictures. But fun bridge case. Very fun. Very fun. I think we actually did a couple of extractions concurrently, a couple of follow-up appointments. He turned out to heal really, really well. So let me talk about this. He wanted his partial denture, his lower partial denture, which was basically an acrylic temporary style partial denture, to match his new bridge. And so he asked me what I could do to help him out cost-wise. And since he had paid us, a few $1,000 to work on that upper bridge, I had a little bit of time that day, and so I told him I'll go ahead and take care of this for free. Well, my initial thought was I'm going to go ahead and cut it down and add some composite to change the color. Rather than sending it back to the lab, I wanted to just do it myself. After I started cutting the partial, which I'll show you pictures of here in a second, I had this revelation come to me. Why don't I just use a Teliocad block, one of the big, long B55 Teliocad blocks, or 40, and make a little veneer bridge, if you will. So here's the veneer bridge itself. You can see it's 5 units. That's what was on his partial. Here's what it looks like inside. A little bit of polishing paste in here. But that's what it looked like after the machine milled it. I think it took the machine like an hour and a half to mill this in my MCXL milling unit, just because the Telio material does not mill very well. You should use the carbides to cut this, and I only had the grinding set up, so it just takes forever to mill it. So here's what it looks like. You can see I've trimmed the teeth down like you would for some standard hybrid crown veneer preps. Here's his wonderful little partial. There is the restoration, and there it is in place. So I think we did a pretty good service to him. This case makes me laugh. It's a lot of fun to look at this. So you can do some non-conventional things with dentistry. Now, is there any harm in doing this? No. We bonded it in, PMMA to PMMA, no problem at all bonding it in there. But that's essentially what it looks like. You can definitely see a color shift there. Nice little restoration. He was very happy with it. I didn't charge him anything for that. I just wanted to give it a try, see if I could do it. But again, he was really happy with the, restoration that we were able to afford him. Of course, he had invested some considerable money in that bridge. But that just goes to show you that you can do a lot of things that you wouldn't necessarily consider doing if you think outside the box. But let me go back to what I said at the very beginning. You want to make sure that you're following the guidelines of the manufacturer. And this 6-unit bridge is contraindicated in most situations. The reason I justified it was, number one, he was opposing a partial denture. So really the only contact that we had was, here on the canine. There was one over on the other side as well. And these are the abutment teeth, so I wasn't too worried about that. But I did prepare him that this material is not designed to span that far under full occlusion, so he needed to chew on the sides. And if it were to ever fail, on me, my cost, I would go ahead and replace that with a zirconia or a PFM style bridge. So we were able to get him served well with this kind of unique hybrid prosthetic, if you will. Lots of fun though, had lots of fun doing this. Great learning experience. So thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.